Shirley Boy Entertainment presents, in association with the Adam Talks podcast, starring Michael Salvia as the voice of Anthony Owens, Jessie Teague as the voice of Carson Jones, James Stokes as the voice of Anthony's therapist, David Reyes, Justin Russell as the voice of Anthony's father, Jacob Owens, Julia D. Borkowski as the voice of Sarah Owens. Special thanks to MX Audio Library, Ambient Feelings, and Rights Free Sound for the music on this project, and Microsoft Copilot for the images generated for this project. Shirley Boy Entertainment and the Adam Talks podcast presents Grief. Written, directed, edited, and narrated by Adam Shirley. It's a rainy day at Clearview Cemetery, where the family of Sarah Owens stands, all in mourning black. And in the front, sitting closest to the grave, is Anthony, her husband, a man in his early 30s. He's crying, barely holding himself together. And honestly, if he weren't here, he wouldn't be holding himself together at all. His father's pastor is standing, giving her eulogy, as a large group of her loved ones stand silently listening.
Today we celebrate the life of and say goodbye to Sarah Owens, a friend, a wife, and a sister. So many of us here. Sarah passed away due to a fatal car accident 1 week ago and is survived by her husband, Anthony. She was a risk taker, a brave soul. And
as he continues speaking, Anthony sits in his own thoughts, deeply pondering the whys and the hows. The pastor finishes, and members of her family and friends stand to tell stories of times in the past that they had with her. Good memories, vacations, summer break stories, funny moments. Some people laugh, some people cry, but Anthony cannot bring himself to stand and say anything. Later on that evening, Anthony arrives home. He walks around the empty house with photos of them both together, vacation pictures, first dates, anniversaries. Then Anthony goes to his room and sits on the floor. He pulls out an old photo album and looks through the memories. And he begins crying. As he's flipping through the pages of the memories, a small folded piece of paper falls in his lap. He opens it, and tears well up in his eyes as he begins to read a note written years ago by Sarah.
To Anthony, my love, it's been way too long. Let's see. It's been, a week? I still miss the feeling of being in your arms, your touch, your kiss. I know we've only been together 4 months. Well, almost 4 months. But it feels like so much longer. I can't wait to see where this journey takes us. Friday is coming up, and you said you had something planned for us for our anniversary. Like I said, 4 months isn't that long, but you mean everything to me. I'm so excited to see you. Can't wait. Always yours, Sarah.
He drops the note and puts his head in his hands and begins sobbing. The next evening, Anthony goes to visit his best friend Carson. Carson, a laid-back young man the same age as Anthony. They've been friends for years, since they were both kids. Anthony arrives at his house and knocks on the door. The door opens, Anthony walks in, and they begin talking.
Hey man, how have you been? Sorry I haven't been by to see you since the funeral. I tried to call, but...
It's okay, man. I haven't really talked to anyone, to be honest. I've just kind of been by myself, trying to deal with everything. How have you been?
I've been okay, man. But you know you don't have to do this alone, right? I'm here for you. We've been best friends since high school. We can talk if you want.
I just miss her, man. The house is empty, quiet, cold. And now she's gone. We were together for 5 years. We had plans. We're gonna have a family, a life, and now.
Hey, look, we don't have to talk about it. Right now, let's get your mind off of it for a little while and have a drink. What do you say?
A drink sounds great, man. Oh yeah, I could really use one.
I bet you could. You look like shit. And hey, man, don't worry about anything. If you want to crash here tonight, you can. I got plenty of room.
Thanks, man, but I've always just had a hard time falling asleep anywhere other than my bed. You know that.
Well, hey, it never hurts to ask, you know.
Yeah, man, I know. You know what the worst part about all this is?
What's that?
If I would have been with her, I feel like I could have done something. Maybe if I was just there. I don't know.
Hey, man, I don't know what you're going through, and I'm not going to pretend to, but for tonight, let's try to get your mind off of it. Let's try to have a good night and celebrate our life. The life that you both had together.
They begin talking and spending time together as Carson tries to comfort him. But Anthony is inconsolable. Hours later, Anthony ends up leaving and going back home. He arrives at his house by himself. He's pacing. He's going through some mail. He's trying to watch TV, but it all seems empty, like something is missing because she's not there. He's going through some of his and her stuff when he runs across another letter.
Hey babe, I'm not gonna be home tonight. I'm gonna Karen's for the weekend. Some kind of women's retreat or something. I would have stayed home with you, but you know how she can be. Anyway, I'll be back in a couple of days. I'll call you as soon as I get there. I love you. P.S. I miss you, chicken finger.
He holds the note, looking at it for a while before putting it down. He begins pacing around and getting worked up and screams. He starts crying and begins throwing things, papers, books, flipping furniture. Then he falls back onto his seat and falls asleep. The next day, he wakes up, still emotional from the night before. He battles with himself for a while, fighting his own emotions, crying, not wanting to bother his best friend too much, but knows he needs to talk to someone. So he calls Carson.
Hey, bro. Is everything all right?
Hey, man. No, everything is not alright. Look, bro. I was just wondering if it'd be cool if I could just, come by for a second. Just have someone to talk to, please.
Of course. Come on by. I'll be home all day.
Thanks, man. I'm on my way now.
He gets himself cleaned up as best he can and drives to Carson's house, and they begin talking.
Hey, man. What's going on?
She's gone, man. She's everywhere and nowhere at the same time. I see her in everything that I do. I can't even watch TV or sleep. I can't do anything. God, I just miss her so much. I just want to hold her hand, hear her voice, but I can't. If I would have just been there, maybe I could have done something.
Hey, man, look. None of this is your fault. It was an accident. No one could have stopped this from happening. Just breathe and try to calm down. You're gonna make yourself sick.
How do you know I could have saved her if I was there? She was my world. My everything. And now? She's gone. And I'm alone.
But you're not alone, man. You've got your family and friends. I'm here. And no, I don't know if she could have been saved if you were there. But it's gonna be okay.
Don't say that. Don't you just sit there and tell me that everything's going to be okay. My entire world is gone. I'm a wreck. And there's nothing anyone can do to change that.
Maybe you should find someone to talk to help with all of it. I'm your friend, and I can tell you whatever I think would help, but there's only so much I can do to help you. In this situation, bro, you may need a therapist. It could do you some good. I don't know. It's just an idea.
No. I don't need that kind of help. I came to you as my best friend. The person I trust more than anyone. And this is the advice you give me? Look, bro. I'm just gonna go. I got some things around the house that need to be done, and I'll see you later.
Hey, man, no, you don't have to go. Anthony! Hey, Anthony!
Anthony walks out of the house furious and hurt. Why would his best friend tell him to talk to someone else now when he needs him more than anyone else? The next day, Anthony is at his house, sitting at his counter, trying to drown his pain by drinking whiskey. He's upset and crying, with the 2 notes that he found sitting on the table in front of him, when he begins talking to himself aloud.
Why? Why did it have to be you? Why did you have to take that road? Why could I have just been with you? I could have done something. I know I could have done something. Now I'm just all alone in this house. Help me. I can't live without you, Sarah. I just can't.
He begins crying, sobbing uncontrollably. His phone begins ringing. When he answers, it's his father. He and his father weren't exactly close. His father has always had a hard time with words, but Anthony always talks to him when he calls for stuff.
Hey son, how are you? I haven't heard from you since the funeral. I just wanted to check in on you.
Yeah, Dad. I'm just trying to,
Son, are you drunk?
Dad!
It's only 11 a.m. Anthony, you need to get some help, son. I had to when your mom passed, and I know it'll help. Go talk to someone, and I don't just mean Carson. He's a good kid, but you need real help, and the bottle can't give you that. Neither can your friend.
Dad, I am just going to...
Son, I know what you're going through, son, and what you're doing won't work. I'm gonna go. Listen, son, I love you. Just think about what I said, please. It's what Sarah would want. You know this.
The call ends, and Anthony sits there and thinks about what Carson and his dad said. And he thinks to himself, maybe I'll do it. I guess it couldn't hurt anything. A while later, he gets on his computer and looks up a therapist's office. He calls to schedule an appointment for the next day. The next day comes, and he is in the waiting room of a therapy center. He's nervous and anxious, thinking what will happen. What's going to be said? Will I cry? Get angry? He hears footsteps enter the room when his therapist walks in and says,
Anthony? Hi, I'm David. Come on back.
They walk down a short hallway to an office overlooking the city. It's breathtaking, almost calming in a way. He sits in the leather rocking chair across from his therapist. Between them is a table with a chessboard on it. David, his therapist, is a middle-aged man who looks to be in pretty good shape. He seems very relaxed, and as he sits, he begins speaking with Anthony.
So today we're going to be doing what's called an intake. So basically, I'll just ask you a bunch of different questions just to get to know you a little bit better and what's going on a little bit. Sounds good?
Sure. Sounds great.
Great. So, before starting, I did just want to say that you do not have to tell me anything that makes you feel uncomfortable. This is a very safe place and no one is going to rush you on anything, okay?
Okay, thank you. I've been actually kind of psyching myself out with this thing, so I appreciate it, man.
No problem. It's all on your time, and we can take however long you need. Also, I have to follow confidentiality laws, so I can't tell anyone anything that you say. So this is literally the safest place you could talk about anything that you want. So, what brings you here today? I mean, why do you think that you need to be in therapy?
Well, my best friend and my dad have actually both noticed some things that I've been doing, that I'm more angry and maybe not dealing with my emotions in a healthy way.
Okay. Well, it's not about what they think. It's about what you think. But you know what? We can come back to that at a later time. Let me ask you a question. Do you drink?
Yes.
Okay. Well, how long have you say you've been drinking? How long has it been going on and how often?
It's been going on for around a month, but lately it's become more frequent.
And would you say you drank a couple of times a day or more than a couple?
More. I'd say I've been drinking more than a couple a day.
Okay, so let's see. What's next? Any major traumatic experiences in your childhood?
No, not really. I had a great childhood, honestly.
Okay, so no abuse, no neglect, anything like that?
No. I mean, when I got in trouble, I knew it, but nothing out of the ordinary.
Okay, any traumatic experiences recently?
Well, I've been going through a really hard time. My wife passed away in a car accident a month and a half ago. I'm trying to work through that.
Oh, okay. We don't have to talk about that right now, Anthony. It's just getting some information, okay? Now, I would like to talk about this next time if you're able to, but don't worry about it right now. Everything's going to be all right. Now, have you ever had any therapeutical services before, or is this your first time in therapy?
This is my first time.
Okay, well, I think that's all I need at the moment. I believe we can finish everything else up at your first appointment, okay? So let's say I'll see you in a week and we can begin your therapy then.
Okay, sounds good. I'll see you then.
Anthony leaves David's office, not sure what to expect, and wonders what may come. He goes home and thinks about everything, but mainly he thinks about her. The week seems to be a complete blur to Anthony. Then, finally, the day comes, and Anthony is once again in the office of his therapist, David.
All right, now that we've had the last of your intake done, we can just talk about how you've been. What's going on with you, man?
Well, a lot, to be honest. I've been going through a really hard time. My wife passed away in a car accident a month and a half ago. I'm trying to work through that.
I'm sorry to hear that. Whenever you think about that, what goes through your head? What kind of thoughts do you have?
It's hard to explain.
Okay, just take your time. Just think about it.
Maybe guilt, regret, like if I could have been there, I could have helped her. Maybe she'll still be here if I was there.
No, Anthony, what makes you think that if you would have been there, what makes you think that things would have been different? What makes you think that you both wouldn't be dead? I mean, there's no real way of knowing what could have happened if you were there.
I don't know. Maybe I could have saved her if I was just there.
And maybe you could have died too, or ended up in a coma, or worse, gotten to think, man, the situation may have ended up like being exactly the same. If you were there, or worse, you could have even died, and she was there having to deal with losing you. What would you want her to do?
Look, man, I don't know, okay? All the time, everywhere I go, I see her. Her face, her smile, I can hear her voice when I'm at home every minute of every day, every second. It's all her. I can't escape it. I miss her. I want her, and she's gone. So then I get mad, and I take it out on people when I don't mean to. Everything gets to me. I don't know. Am I going crazy?
No, man, you're not going crazy. You're going through something terrible, and you're going through the stages of grief. And there's no quick fix for it. And I'm sorry to say that, and it's going to take some time, and maybe a lot of time. To be honest, this might be something that you won't like to hear, or maybe you've already heard already. But there's nothing that you could have done to have changed things, to make things any different. What do you think about what I just said?
I don't know. To be honest, I can't say. It's hard to wrap my head around. I think that if I was there, she may have at least had some kind of chance to survive. We were together 5 years, and now she's gone. How am I supposed to accept that there's nothing I could have done? How am I supposed to accept that she's gone when she's everywhere and nowhere at the same time? I feel like she's going to walk through our door at home anytime. But I know she won't, because she's gone. Everything's hard.
Anthony, it's going to take some time, but you will get through this. And you're doing great. And yeah, it's really hard losing someone you love, but it will be okay. Now, I know it seems like you've had a great support system in your dad and your friend. You need those kind of people in your life. It helps a lot, believe it or not, especially in times like these.
Anthony and him continue talking about this and that. As their session ends, Anthony messages Carson and asks if he can stop by. Carson agrees, and a short while later, Anthony is at Carson's house, and they are hanging out and talking.
So how's it going with your therapist, man?
It's going good, I guess. So far, I mean, talking about it seems to be helping a little bit. But I'm having a lot of trouble with this, and I still think if I would have been there, she might still be here.
Come on, man. You've done nothing wrong. What would you being there have really done?
I don't know, man. I feel like maybe if I was there, and even if the crash had happened, I could have...
What, saved her?
Well, yeah, man. What's with the attitude? I came here to talk to you and...
You're gonna listen to me. I'm tired of hearing this. Who's to say that if you were there, you wouldn't have died too? Then what would me and your dad have done, huh?
Carson.
No! You come over here at least a couple times a week and blame yourself for something out of your control. I'm tired of it. You need to really sit down and think, Anthony. There's nothing, and I mean nothing, you could have done. And there's no reason to feel guilty. You've done nothing wrong.
At his next session, Anthony is sitting in David's office, talking to him about his conversation with Carson after his first appointment.
So that's what Carson said to you?
Yeah. That's what he said.
So what was going through your mind when that was happening?
Confusion. Like, why would he, my best friend, talk to me like that? I came over there to try to express how I was feeling to the person I trust more than anyone. Well, the only person I have left anyway, other than my dad.
What did that conversation sound like before he said what he did? I mean, what were y'all talking about?
I was just telling him how I felt about the accident. How I felt like I could have done something, and he just snapped.
Now, I'm not being insensitive or anything, and I wouldn't direct it to you in the same way that he did, but I do agree that it wasn't your fault, and that there was nothing that you could have done any different. It was a car accident, Anthony. She made her choice to drive where she drove, the road that she was on, the speed that she was going, and it was an accident. In all reality, there wasn't anything anyone could have done, to be honest. Tell me, what could you have done to make the situation any better?
Oh. I mean... I'm not sure. Okay,
here's the thing, Anthony. Try to understand that this was a car accident. It wasn't something predetermined or planned. It was just what it was. It was an accident. There was no purpose behind it. As much as it sucks and hurts, you're going to have to face that and find a way of any kind of peace. And I'm sure your dad and Carson will be there to support you through all of this. You're going to be okay, man. But hey, I've got another client coming in, and we've already ran out of time a little bit. So I'll talk to you next time. Is next week all right?
Yeah.
All right. You have a good one, man. Shoot me a text if you need anything, and we can do a video chat if you need to.
Anthony leaves. A little later, he's at his home. He's sitting at a table, looking out the window, when he picks up the phone and decides to call Carson up.
Hello?
Hey, man. Could we talk, please? Could really use it.
And any other day I would, but I'm kind of busy. Another time, maybe?
Yeah. Sure. Another time.
Hey, I'm sorry. I'll get a hold of you when I'm free.
The call ends. Carson lays his phone down on the table and says,
I really wish I could help, man. I really do. I can't do this right now.
and he sits down on his couch. Anthony looks at his phone, hurt. He begins walking around, stressing himself out, trying to wrap his brain around the fact that it wasn't his fault. He finds a piece of paper folded inside of a book on the countertop. He opens the book and finds that it's another letter his wife was using as a bookmark.
You know, babe, I was just thinking that this cast really itches, and I just want to scream. But honestly, I feel like a broken arm was worth the thrill of bungee jumping. I hate to say it, but honestly, I'm glad you weren't there, because you know as well as I do, you would have totally freaked out and blamed yourself for me breaking my arm, like you always do about everything, and you shouldn't. I mean, hell, to be honest, you would have probably tried talking me out of it. It wouldn't have worked, and I still would have this cool cast on my arm today. That's why I love you, because of how much you care, and how much you love me, and want the best for me. But look, I'm a risk taker, and love leaping without looking. No matter what you think, this couldn't have been stopped, because I wanted to do it. I've tried telling you that I wanted to go bungee jumping for years, and hell yeah, when I had the chance, I took it. Because I'm, as you say, wild at heart. So don't blame yourself, baby. I made the choice. I know you're going to be mad at me for a little while, and I get it. But it was my choice, and even you couldn't have changed my mind. I love you, Chicken Finger. Never leave.
He puts down the note and goes on a walk to try to help clear his head. As he's walking, he begins to really let everything sink in and goes through his phone where he finds a voicemail he saved from her. He stops for a second, closes his eyes, takes a deep breath, and then pushes play to listen to it.
Hey baby, I just wanted to see what you wanted for dinner. I'm on my way to the store. I was thinking pizza or maybe lasagna, but I'm not sure. Did you know that I love and miss you? Okay, I was just calling to see what we wanted for dinner. There's something else I wanted to tell you, I can't remember. Oh, do you want me to pick up some wine or beer for us just to kind of de-stress and relax? Call me when you get this. I love you, Chicken Finger, and try to hurry up. I miss your voice.
Anthony begins to smile as tears start to roll down his cheeks, and he stares off, just trying to understand and accept everything. At his next therapy appointment, he and David are talking about what's been going on in his mind and how he's been dealing with everything as of late.
So how are you doing, man? How's it been going?
It's been going pretty good, man. Starting to finally see that it was out of my control. The accident. I mean, she's gone. And there wasn't anything I really could have done to stop it. But I don't know, it's still hard.
Yeah, man, it is going to be hard. It's not easy losing someone that you love. But I am glad to hear that you're seeing things that way. It means you're healing. It may not feel like it all the time, but you are. And I hope that talking about it is helping you to some extent.
It is, but I've been feeling heavy. Like, down all the time. I'm depressed, and I can't seem to shake it off.
That's normal, Anthony. It is for whatever you're going through. It's very normal. And the thing I would suggest is that you try to find things that you enjoy doing and to make you happy. And really try to get back into the swing of things that may help you to do the things that are special to you and things that you love.
They continue to talk for a while before the session ends and Anthony heads home. He's at his house playing his guitar for a while. Then he starts drawing. He even tries watching movies, but he's not able to get his mind off of anything. He's stressing out, so he calls up Carson and they begin to talk again.
Hello?
Hey, man.
What's up?
Well, honestly, I just wanted to say I'm sorry. I'm sorry for getting on your nerves the past few times we've talked. I was upset, and it's taken me a little bit to understand what you, Dad, and David were trying to tell me. That none of this is my fault, and that it was an accident, and you were all right about everything. I'm just having a hard time getting my head straight, and the only way I know how is to talk to you, and I don't know, maybe just hanging out and actually trying to get my mind off it all.
And man, would you want to try to get together later on tonight? Maybe we can just chill, hang out, talk. Whatever you want to do, really.
Yeah, that sounds great.
I'll give you a call in a little while then.
Over the next couple of months, he and Carson start hanging out. Anthony starts to go on walks more frequently. He's writing songs and stories, and he's playing music. He begins doing different things, and he starts to get better and stronger each day. Then, one afternoon, as he's going through their closet, he finds a sealed letter that Sarah never gave him in one of her jacket pockets while he's cleaning out her clothes.
Hey, I know we're not talking right now, and that's okay. I understand. I'm not ready to talk right now either. That's why I'm writing this letter. It's easier that way. You don't know what's going to happen to us, Anthony. We've been fighting all the time here lately, and it's not like us. It's not who we are. We talk and work things out, but it's been really difficult to say anything to each other at all. But I did want to let you know I still love you, and no matter what happens, I will always love you, even if we aren't together. One day, even then, I will still want you to be happy. I want you to always be happy, even if it's not around me. Even if I'm miles away or with someone else, I still want you to be happy. Because that's all I ever wanted for you. I love you, Chicken Finger. I hope we can get through this.
He sits there for a moment and thinks to himself.
She wanted me to be happy. Even if we weren't together. Even if she wasn't here.
He then smiles and chuckles as he looks up to the heavens inside of his small apartment. At his next session, a changed, stronger, happier Anthony and David are talking about everyday things.
So, how have you been, Anthony?
You know, I've been good. I've been really good, David. I think it was hard for me to accept the fact that she was gone. that I had no control over what happened to her and that I blamed myself for her death. The thing is that I know no matter what, I've got to continue my life. It can't stop because she's dead. I can't stay in the same place that I've been in mentally. I'm moving forward. I'm trying to be happy. I'm trying to do the things that make me happy and give me hope for tomorrow. It's like I'm taking each step one day at a time. Breathing in and out and just living. I've talked to Carson and apologized for the way that I was acting. And I also let him know that I understand it wasn't my fault. I'm doing it, David. I'm living. And it feels good to know that somewhere she's smiling down on me. Happy that I'm in a better place. I can feel her love in the sunshine, in the warmth on my skin. And it helps me get through every day that much more. I loved her. And I always will love her. And she will always be in my heart.
Anthony goes on a long walk, smiling, looking into the sky. He realizes that he's going to be okay, and that none of what happened was his fault. He is finally at peace. Hey everybody, it's Adam Shirley, creator, director, and narrator of this audio drama, Grief. I wanted to tell each and every one of you that's watching or listening to this, thank you so much for being part of this. It's been a passion project. I wrote it probably a year and a half ago. It was going to be a film we were going to do, but that ended up kind of sliding off, and we ended up doing this audio drama. And I'm so grateful for each and every one of you that's checked it out. I wanted to take this time to say thank you to some very special people whom without them this would not have happened. I want to first say thank you to Michael Salvia, who does the voice of Anthony, Jessie Teague doing the voice of Carson, Julia Borkowski doing the voice of Sarah, Justin Russell doing the voice of Anthony's father, and James Stokes, who did the voice of David, Anthony's therapist. Guys, it was such an awesome thing to have you guys be involved in this, and I wanted to just say how much it means to me. It means the world to me because, like I said, this is a passion project, a year and a half in the making, and I'm very excited that we got the chance to do this. For everybody who's watched or listened to this, guys, keep your eyes and your ears open for more awesome audio dramas right here on the Shirley Boy Entertainment page. I am so excited and I am so happy about this. But with that being said, there are more great things to come from the Shirley Boy Entertainment world, from fan fiction audio dramas, original audio dramas, and everything in between, as well as shorts and possibly micro films as well. Guys, I'm so happy about this. Thank you for all the love and support, and thank you everyone who is involved. I can't wait to show you more.